former President Donald Trump has once again become a central figure in an unfolding political controversy after the release of a promotional video that critics across the political spectrum have labeled tone-deaf, poorly timed, and deeply disconnected from the concerns of everyday Americans. Throughout his political career, Trump has frequently blended personal branding, business ventures, and campaign messaging. But according to several Republican strategists and political observers, the timing and optics of his latest watch promotion video may be creating more political harm than benefit, especially as the country faces rising anxiety over the economy, affordability, and national stability. The criticism intensified when Brendan Buck, a well-known Republican insider and former senior advisor to former House Speaker Paul Ryan, appeared on MSNBC Now to evaluate not only the content of the video but the broader implications of Trump's current public image. Buck, a strategist respected within the Republican establishment, said that the situation has already begun affecting Trump's polling numbers and damaging how persuadable voters perceive his leadership priorities. The watch promotion video shows Trump enthusiastically presenting and showcasing luxury watches from his branded merchandise line. On its surface, the video appears similar to many of Trump's business-oriented messages from the past decade. But political strategists say that context is everything, and the context today is significantly different from the political climate during Trump's earlier campaigns. Buck explained that in 2016 and even 2020, Trump's unconventional behavior, from selling products to releasing flashy advertisements, felt like part of his brand as a political outsider. Many voters interpreted such actions as signs of confidence, independence, and entrepreneurial leadership. The shock factor worked in Trump's favor because he successfully differentiated himself from the political establishment and conveyed an image of someone who did things differently. However, Buck stressed that those earlier conditions no longer exist. The country is now dealing with a range of pressing issues, lingering affordability challenges, medical debt, rising housing costs, job insecurity, global conflicts, and uncertainty about America's geopolitical role. As voters grapple with these economic and emotional pressures, a video of a political figure, especially a former president, celebrating luxury merchandise creates a stark contrast with the lived experiences of many Americans. When things are going well, people tend to tolerate or even celebrate flashy behavior, Buck said. But when things are not going well and a leader appears to be focused on self-promotional activities rather than the nation's problems, voters start to question whether that leader understands their struggles. Buck added that Trump's recent activities, renovating a ballroom, participating in ceremonial events, traveling for sports-related announcements, and frequently promoting branded merchandise, collectively create the impression that his focus is drifting away from the issues that matter most to voters. According to Buck, Trump has always been someone who blends business with politics, but the environment now is harsher. This is a moment when Americans are looking for steady leadership and focus. And right now, the perception is that Trump is distracted. Political analysts say that image perception can significantly impact voter sentiment. For many Americans, especially swing voters and moderate conservatives, economic insecurity remains a top concern. People struggling to purchase groceries, pay rent, handle medical bills, or plan for retirement may find it difficult to connect with a political message centered around luxury goods. Even some Trump supporters have privately expressed discomfort, saying that the video feels disconnected from everyday challenges. This controversy also intersects with another development, Trump's declining poll numbers. Recent surveys show drops in approval among independents, suburban voters, and older conservatives, groups Trump heavily relies on. Buck noted that campaign missteps, including misaligned messaging, often reinforce public doubt about whether a candidate is in touch with national priorities. "I think the watch video is already catching up to him," Buck said. "It's part of a bigger pattern that voters are noticing. He doesn't seem focused, and that's becoming a political liability." The strategist also referenced a recent resignation by a MAGA-aligned lawmaker, describing it as a sign of instability within Trump's political orbit. While he did not go into full detail, Buck implied that internal tensions and strategic disagreements may be intensifying behind the scenes. His comments suggested that Republican leaders, both public and private, are increasingly anxious about Trump's ability to stay disciplined heading into critical electoral cycles. Buck's remarks highlight an underlying truth about modern American politics: optics matter just as much as policy. When a candidate appears inattentive to urgent national challenges, voters may question their credibility, regardless of ideology. Trump's brand has always depended on bold imagery, confident messaging, and visual demonstrations of strength and success. But in moments of widespread economic strain, those same visuals can be interpreted as insensitivity or misaligned priorities. The criticism does not come exclusively from the left. Some conservative commentators argue that the watch video feeds into existing Democratic narratives portraying Trump as self-interested and disconnected. They warn that producing such content gives political opponents easy ammunition for campaign ads, especially those focused on affordability, inequality, and economic hardship. Other GOP lawmakers worry that controversy after controversy may create cumulative fatigue among voters. While Trump's hardcore base remains loyal, political strategists emphasize that general election victories depend heavily on persuading moderates and independents, groups that respond strongly to leadership tone, perceived empathy, and seriousness of purpose. Another dimension is Trump's ongoing effort to portray himself as a problem solver capable of addressing the nation's affordability concerns. Over the past months, he has argued that rising prices and economic instability are politically manufactured narratives used by Democrats. But when ordinary Americans experience financial pressure firsthand, a promotional video of a former president selling luxury watches can undermine the credibility of that message. Political professionals point out that leaders are often judged not by what they say but by what they choose to highlight. When a country is struggling economically, voters tend to expect responsible, focused, and empathetic leadership. Anything else, especially something that appears frivolous, is viewed critically. Buck's comments reflect growing anxieties within portions of the GOP who believe Trump risks alienating voters by appearing disengaged from national concerns. He warned that this pattern, if sustained, could have real electoral consequences. He doesn't seem locked in on the things that the public cares about, Buck reiterated. These missteps accumulate. And voters, especially undecided ones, notice them. As the political season intensifies and the public becomes more attuned to candidate behavior, strategists say Trump may need to adjust his messaging if he hopes to maintain broad appeal. Whether he chooses to shift course or double down on his current approach remains to be seen. But the reaction to this watch promotion video suggests that even seemingly small actions can carry huge political weight, especially in an era when voter attention is shaped as much by symbolism as by policy.